Welcome to another episode of Waves of Wisdom. Today, here with me in this beautiful setting in Singapore is a good friend of mine from Singapore, Dr. Jerome Joseph. And he's a best-selling author of, he has 10 books under his belt, and he is a global speaker who has spoken over 34 countries. And he's been ranked number 2 in branding and marketing in the world of branding and marketing. Welcome to the show, Dr. James.
Oh, thank you for having me, and welcome to Singapore.
Thank you.
You're in
You're in
little island now.
Yeah, last time we met was in Maldives. That is right, in one of our conferences. Today we are enjoying the excellent APSS convention. How have you been?
Oh, I've been awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm so glad. I think the last time we saw each other was before COVID, and we went through COVID, we survived COVID, and now the world is it's open and traveling and speaking. So I'm enjoying it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the speakers are also back to business now.
Yes.
Yeah. So just to start with, for our audience, can you tell us a little bit background about your childhood and what were you dreaming, and how you envision yourself as a child, as a teenager, in your college days, um, and how it all led to what you are doing now.
Okay. Oh, and really good question, because someone just asked me that during the convention, and I was telling them, I think when I was young in Singapore, I was bullied. I was bullied. I'm a minority in this country, so I was bullied for many ways. One, because I was introverted, but also because of the color of my skin. And I had people bullying me, again being a minority. And as a young kid, I did not know how to defend myself, and also because of the fact that I was introverted, that didn't help. Something happened though that kind of changed me, because as an introvert in school when I was 14 years old, I used to hide in little corners, run away from the bullies. But one day my teacher said, "Can you go up on stage and speak?" And I said, "Speak on stage?" And he said, "Yeah, go and speak, tell us a story, talk about something." And I said, "Okay." And I went on stage and I spoke. And when I finished speaking, I had the entire school in absolute silence. I think many people were shocked when they saw me actually stand on stage and speak. This is the same guy that they bullied, that they teased, but standing on stage and commanding the entire school. And everyone started clapping and clapping. And I'm like, whoa, what just happened? The kid who has been bullied is now getting applause from his classmates, or even from the bullies themselves. And that was like a moment for me. And I realized that there was a privilege, or a position of power, position of privilege, and a position where I could escape from being that introvert, from being the person that stood in the corner. Because when I got on stage, I felt like, yes, people actually listened to me. People actually respected me. People actually wanted to hear me. And I had a voice which had been hidden for many, many years by all that bullying that was happening to me. And I ended up winning all the speaking competitions, ended up representing my school and winning the national competition. And I realized, this is awesome.
Yeah.
This is something which I enjoy. And of course, as I grew older, I moved away from the whole bullying thing. It wasn't so much about the bullying anymore, but because I really enjoyed being on stage. I'm still an introverted, by the way, till today, but that journey that I had of getting on stage and talking to people was a huge influence to me. But here's the thing. I never really started off wanting to be a professional speaker. I did get on stage and I spoke and I won all these competitions, but my dream was actually be a brand consultant. So I lived in Singapore, I went to Australia, I studied strategic brands communication. I did my master's, and I came back and I was working for one of the biggest brand consulting firms in the planet. And after that, I started my own business. But that calling remained. That calling remained. So what I used to do is, when I used to do a branding project, someone would come up to me and said, "Hey, can you come and share what you did in the branding project?" And I'm like, "Sure." And I get on stage and I go boom, 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 and I talk.
Yeah.
And like, "Wow, you should be a speaker." I'm like, "No, I'm a consultant. That's fine." And one day I did that, and someone sent me a check. And I looked at it and I saw that someone had given me, and it was about $1,000 Singapore dollars for speaking. And I said, why are you paying me? He says, Jerome, there's speakers out there that charge 10 times the amount and you're way better.
Uh-huh.
And I said, you mean you're going to pay someone $10,000 to speak? They go, yes. And you did this, and we thought you deserve to get paid. And we can't pay you 10,000, but are you okay with $1,000? I'm like, I'm more than okay, yes. And it's kind of how everything started. But there's more, but I thought I'd pause for a second now. And
Yes. So actually, so you really you identified this as a passion, right? Quite early on.
passion,
Yes.
not as a profession, but as a passion.
As a passion, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
For
But-
purpose. Yeah.
yeah. So this is actually the theme of my current series
Yeah.
also, which I'm talking more about how people can find their passion
Yeah.
and living with purpose is important, so they don't have to retire if they don't want, which
Yeah.
I call becoming unretirable.
Fantastic.
Yeah, you are a perfect example, I think, of that. And then, so how that really evolved over time? Like you very rightly just now said, it's not as a profession.
Yeah.
I think that is for many of us. This is the problem. Many of the professionals who are working is they, as children or as teenagers, they might have already identified or must have been excited about a passion, but then they go to a different path in pursuing a different career.
Yeah.
How was your journey into that? I mean, like, if you're giving advice for your younger self.
So I think
What would
that
be that?
the $1,000 is a good start, because I started saying, hey, is there something here? Is there something in? I mean, and don't get me wrong, I was passionate about branding.
Yes.
I was passionate about being a consultant. I loved doing that. But being a consultant wasn't my childhood passion.
Yeah.
You're right. It was my passion in my current state. I love being a consultant, but that suddenly this emotion of my childhood came in about, wow, Jerome, remember back then when you're 14 years old,
You're
you
getting all this applause.
you're winning all this? I mean, isn't that something that you enjoyed? I'm like, so I started exploring it. And one of the things that I did, to cut a long story short, is I went and I seeked out mentors. And to me, that was super important, because it's so important to find people who have been there, done that. And I went and I found people who were professional speakers. And I go to them and I said, hey guys, I mean, I'm interested in this. I heard about this. I think I'm pretty okay. Could you give me some advice around this?
Yeah.
And I got so much really good advice. And I remember meeting one guy who I sat down and his name is W. Mitchell. So this was very interesting thing about W. Mitchell, right? W. Mitchell he's burnt. So he suffered a aeroplane crash, a motorbike accident. So he's paralyzed and he's burnt. And I saw him speak at an event. So I go up to him and I go, Mitchell, you did a great speech. I'm curious, how much money do you make? And Mitch said, I make $30,000. I'm like, poor guy, he's only making $30,000 a year. How's he going to survive with all the hospital bills and everything? And I go, wow, it's $30,000 a year. Isn't it tough? He goes, it's not a year.
Uh-huh.
And I go, what? I said, is it 30,000 a month? And that's very good. 30,000 a month. And he goes, it's not a month. It's a speech.
For speed.
It's a speech.
Yeah.
And I learned that. And this is a guy who's enjoying his life. I'm making really good money, and he's in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
He's in a wheelchair. He's burnt because he suffered body burns. And I'm like, wow, this is a guy who's really enjoying life, living the dream, making good money. So the reason why I share this story is because I realize that there's a whole world that sometimes we don't know about.
Yes.
We think we do, right? We think, oh, this speaking profession, it's nothing. It's like, it's not meant for me. You're not going to make money, or you can't live your passion because there's nothing in it. But I was very, very, I was wrong. And I'm glad that I took the trouble to talk to these people, to meet and to learn, like what you are doing now, right?
Yeah.
To your own viewers, right? You're listening and you're talking to me. So what I'm trying to say is that because of that exploration that I took, I realized that I could live my passion. Now, I still remain a consultant for many years because that's still my passion. But you can have two passions. You can have three passions.
Yes, exactly.
And I realized, is there a way that I could be a consultant and be a speaker and marry that passion of that. And you can.
Yeah.
So what I started to do is I started going around and speaking all around the world. And then when a client says, I love what you're speaking, I love the training, but can you come in and do more? It's where my consulting part comes in.
As well. Yes.
So it's perfect, right?
Yeah.
So I love that. And that's how my journey evolved.
Yeah. So it's wonderful to know that how somebody can actually live their passion is uh, it's a great state of being, isn't it? Somebody can be. Um, so how does it feel like living that dream now?
Um, you know, being a speaker, and now just to give you context, right? I mean, I stepped away from my consulting business,
Mhm.
and I've left it to be run by a team of people because it's no longer my passion today. I think I've got only one passion now. So I retired from the consulting business about 5 years ago, and I only do speaking.
Yeah.
And as I go on this journey, I can sometimes I pinch myself. Uh, how lucky and how privileged I am to do something that I love so much, to do something that changes lives. I mean, if you remember when we went Maldives,
Yes.
you remember my speech.
Yes.
When I
Sure.
finished that speech, and I remember people coming up to me and shaking my hand. You were one of them,
Yeah.
right?
Of course.
How much you felt that emotions I brought in my speech, so much so that you're a speaker yourself.
Yes, it really inspired me. I think that event was one of the events I also spoke
Yeah,
on the, but that event really made my decision because before that I also was also on and off speaking in
yeah,
whenever somebody invites me. But I think that you and with Frederick Karen and everyone coming and giving such world class speeches really opened up my eyes as well. And this is where this is actually a point in my life.
yeah.
At that time, actually, I was also going through little hardship because my both parents passed away.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, few months back, and then
Mm.
I was also questioning the purpose of my life
Yeah,
and what can I hang on and do
yeah,
till rest of my life. And like you, I have been speaking in school competitions, winning competitions, debate competition, oratory competitions. So it always went back to something about speaking. So I wasn't very much aware of something called professional speaking. So I was always thinking of becoming a lecturer, for example, in a university or something like that. I thought will be fulfilling because I was also a tutor and a tuition teacher
yeah.
while I was doing my A levels as well. So I think that is something I could do, and that I really loved when I did it back then. But then when I talked to my friends in universities, and I understood that it's a huge responsibility, and that if somebody really doesn't love it, then you are going to be very stressful in a job as a
Yeah.
lecturer or something like that. Then when I evaluated further, and when I saw you and many others from Singapore Association coming and speaking, and many others thereafter, and many conventions I have attended elsewhere, actually felt this is something I also could do for the rest of my life.
There you go.
And so this is why actually I came up with this idea of writing a book also on this area of unretirable, because I found that of lot of my speaker friends, when I ask them this question, and I want to ask from you as well, when are you going to retire?
I don't know. I mean, and it's a valid question
Yeah.
because I love what I do so much.
Yes.
I get on stage, I change lives. In fact, it was very interesting, right? I mean, I was did a program, and this was a client of mine in Vietnam. So I go to Vietnam and I do this program, and the lady comes up to me and she shakes my hand and she goes, you know, I needed to hear this. I needed to hear your message today. And she started crying, and I started crying,
Yeah.
and we're both crying. And I don't even know anything about her or her life, but it's that hidden, that uncommunicated message that passed through. It's like, I
Yes.
know. And that's why a big part of why I do this is, of course, I live the dream. I travel around the world and I do all this, but I do it because I truly believe that my message is going to change someone's life. Not everyone's life,
Yeah.
but someone's life. And that's why I continue to do this. The day I retire is the day I know I'm unable to deliver on stage. I'm unable to deliver or to do what I do. Or I've lost interest in it. And I don't know when the day will come. But right now, I love it.
Right now, you don't foresee, right?
I don't
Losing
force
that
it.
interest.
I don't force it.
Yeah.
When,
Because I think it's also important, and because I am also professionally, I have worked in the pension industry as well, and I know retirement and saving for retirement and things like this is very important. But from so many people's experience, people I knew around my circle, including my dad, for example, I have seen what they have gone through after they retire, when they don't have found this clear purpose and passion, which they can hang on for the rest of their life. Because once their profession comes to an end, and when they comes to a age where they have to by legally retire, then they don't have actually anything else to follow other than. I think a lot of people think that it's okay, and a lot of people dream, and I think this is how the social notations or what we have been taught in the system, especially in the financial system, is what normally somebody will call as the fire. Right. Become financially independent, retire early. This is what normally the narrative which has been told, but it is not really true, because there's more to retirement or living a purposeful life or living a fulfilling life than just having money, isn't it?
Agree. I mean, I've done well in my life. And then I have to admit, I mean, because I've built a business, I had a consulting business, speaking business. I've done well in my life. But it's not always about money. It started off being that. It started off. But I think there are different strokes when it comes to passion. Right? So you can have passion, but you can make zero money from it. And I think as someone who's starting out, that's really not feasible. Because if you have a passion for maybe doing finger dancing, right? So it's think about an extreme example. You're like, oh, this is finger dancing, right? I got a passion for it. Don't want to look at my finger dancing. Then you got to work really hard to make money from it. And then who knows? There might be a market for it. Maybe who knows? With TikTok, you can. Yes, right? Who knows, right? But the thing is, I think when you follow your passion, the next thing that comes to the mind is asking yourself the question is this going to help me in my journey, in my career? Am I going to follow my passion and at the same time make money from it? And I think that's important. Because one of my passions is golf. But can I make money from it? No. Unless you want to see a clown hitting the ball in the water. But I mean, that's something that I talk about. Is that you when you have passion, great, follow it. But you also got to make sure that this enables you to have the life that you deserve. Now that you deserve, the life you deserve could be a wealthy, or it could be a simple life. But it allows you to have the life that you deserve. And I think that's an important thing about passion. So for me at this stage of my life, I mean, I do this, but I also want the life that I deserve. And the life that I want is a life with my family, with spending time with my two beautiful daughters, spending time with them, but also going and traveling and meeting people and helping them and really, really sincerely helping them. I mean, I coach probably about 20 speakers at this convention. I was just telling someone, at least 20 speakers here, and some of them are doing so well in their careers, and I'm so happy for it. So I've known that I've done my part. I've helped, I've contributed.
I think, you're doing an amazing job in that sense as well. I don't know if you remember, back in the convention in Maldives, I asked you to actually evaluate my speech and uh, give me an idea from the branding and the presentation, PowerPoint point of view. And you gave some excellent points. And today I follow those, and which has really helped me to elevate my speaking.
And yes, interesting. I remember that. I remember sitting down speaking to you and giving you feedback. But were you the only guy that I spoke to that day?
No.
No.
Yes, exactly.
Right? So I went around and I went to help multiple speakers and I went to try to help them, isn't it? So here is the
Yes.
here is a key thing about the beauty of this business and your passion. If you are good at something,
Yes.
and you love what you do, and you're good at something, and you're doing well in it, build a runway for someone else. Help them.
Yeah.
Don't keep it to yourself.
Yes.
Because
Exactly.
for me, that is an extreme act of selfishness.
Yes.
Now, I'm not great at golf. I'm passionate about golf. I'm not great at golf.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to come and teach you golf,
Of course.
because you're going to get as bad as me or worse, right?
Yeah.
But I'm really good at speaking.
Yeah.
I get on stage. I've had 10,000 people. I can move them, make them cry, make them laugh. I can do that. Now I have that gift. And now it's my job, it's my legacy to take that and to give it to someone else.
Yeah, of course.
Because why do we do this? We do this because we serve our audiences.
Yes.
And that's my fundamental belief, that if we look at passion at a deeper level, you might be passionate and we're making good money, but don't keep it yourself.
Yes.
Passion needs to be shared.
Yes.
And that's what I truly believe. And we use the word unretirable,
Yes.
is to create your legacy by creating other unretirables.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, this is what actually what frustrated me also, and that even from that day it led to myself, our good friend Afif, and few of our other friends coming together and forming the Modi's Professional Speakers Association.
Good on you.
Also, because we want to not only us to get better in this profession and passion, but also to take others with us on our journey.
Fantastic.
So that's the reason, and that's why we are here as well, attended on behalf of all the members, so that we can go back and share what we learned from these conferences, right? So just connecting back with your area of expertise in branding, and since now we talk a little bit about Unretirable, how important is creating a solid personal brand from early on to become unretirable or to achieve? That is how much time do you have? Yes, I could do a master class so that I can understand this social can do.
Here's the interesting thing, right? I wrote the first ever book
Yes,
on personal branding
yes,
in Asia.
for the internal branding.
Oh, no,
Not that. Yeah,
not that one.
I joined.
I wrote the first ever book on personal branding in Asia in 2007.
All right.
So I introduced the concept to personal brand because it was written about in the US.
Yes.
But I brought the concept to Asia. And I started going around doing programs. And many people back then used to laugh at me. They go, personal branding? What do you mean branding? Brands are for products and services and not for people. And in 2007, I had to fight everyone. And now everyone's using the word personal branding. So the thing is this, right? What you say, what you do is a reflection of who you are.
Yes.
How you strategize the brand that you want to leave to the world is going to be important. I tell this to all the personal brands I coach. Nothing is accidental. Everything is intentional.
Yes.
You need to go out there and you need to strategize. How do you want to reach out to your audience? What do you want them to feel about you, think about you? Or how do you want them to engage with you through the messages, through your channels, through what you're telling them? If you do that well enough, people will buy from you, people want to do business with you, people will remember you.
Yes.
And the end game for personal branding is very simple. It's legacy.
Yeah.
It's brand legacy. Is
what you leave behind.
Correct.
At the end of her life when you leave this world.
Absolutely. So personal branding is a huge thing for me. And I teach this and I do this all around the world. And I truly believe that a lot of speakers, entrepreneurs, professionals, they don't use it enough. And they don't understand it. Think, oh, personal branding, I got a Facebook channel. Ooh.
Yeah.
And personal brand is good. No, it's not. It's a whole ecosystem of things that we need.
Yeah. So we are coming towards an end of our conversation today as well, because we have an important event to catch up as well.
Right.
So just as last words of wisdom to our listeners, and what can you tell from your experience as somebody who has what I call become unretirable? What would you say for people who are in their early careers, mid careers, or late careers? What they need to think and how they need to act now to become unretired?
So, I mean, there's so much we could say on this, but I mean, in essence, here's what I'm going to advise, right?
Yeah.
Always remember, fuel your passion, but fuel your passion in a way that gets you the life that you deserve. That's important because there's no point having a passion for something that cannot help you create the life that you deserve. Once you do that, work on building a world-class brand. For me, I mean, because I wrote the book, but before I even wrote the book, this was my intention. My intention was always to build a brand that people remember. That if I walk out the room, I mean, people say, that's Dr. Jerome Joseph. I love what he said. I love what he did. Your personal brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room.
Yes, of course.
And to create a brand that's strategic, that really engages with your audience, that people remember. And the final thing is this, right? Don't just keep it to yourself. And I love what you're doing with your podcast because you're sharing your message to the world. Let the world know. Give your gift.
Yeah.
Take this passion and give it to the world and share it and help other people also learn that passion.
Yeah.
That is true legacy.
And thank you very much, Jerome, being on my show. And
most welcome.
really a pleasure always. Whenever we speak, I think there are so many takeaways we can, from your experience and wisdom. And for my listeners, until we come back, don't forget to be intentional about your brand and don't forget to leave a legacy of your passion to the world and share it to the world, as Dr. Jerome Joseph has told today. Until we come back, don't forget to be awesome. Thank you.